Effort is overrated. Busyness, even more so. What do I mean by this? I mean that too many people, even maybe you, are addicted to the grind, or at least the idea of the grind. You're out there doing everything the hard way, putting in all the hours, thinking that's what success requires, but instead you're getting the exact opposite results. 6 years ago, we realized this and everything changed. Since then, we built a $300 million multifamily portfolio from zero for ourselves and helped thousands of passive investors fast track their way out of the grind and into real wealth. And now we're here to show you how to do it, only faster. But first, let's talk about why does hard feel safe, but easy feels scary. What do I mean? A few years ago, I was in Park City, Utah, snowboarding. We went to a local snowboarding place, not one of those touristy spots. Those are the ones where it have like multiple chairlifts to get to the top of the mountain. So being an intermediate, trying my ropes at a brand new park, I went to the top, right? I went to the Black Diamond slope. It was quite steep and just wanted to take a solo run down the hill. So I came all the way down. As I was coming down, what I noticed was, wow, there's a lot more people at the bottom of the hill than normal. And I didn't really understand why, but just came straight down. Once I got to the bottom of the mountain, what I realized was I looked to the left and I realized, wow, none of the chairlifts are working. But this is the only way I can get back to the top of the mountain, where my sister, who sprained her ankle the day before and really couldn't go the second day, was waiting for me up there, and another friend was also up there. And so I was like, wow, started panicking. How am I going to get up to the top of the mountain? I can't go now. The lifts that would have taken me up there doesn't work. I talked to a few people and discovered that, oh, now there's a line forming, waiting for this bear claw machine. Essentially, it's a machine that can climb really, really steep inclines of a mountain. But the problem is it can fit like maybe 6 or 7 or 8 people in at a time. And there's like 100+ people waiting to get in this thing. Instead of waiting, I was talking to a couple of people and I started seeing a couple of people start walking up the mountain. And I was contemplating, okay, do I sit here and wait, or do I tough it out and just walk up the mountain? And think about this, right? This is a Black Diamond slope, so it's really steep. This is not like, oh, let's go stroll through the park. And anyone who's snowboarded or skied before know how the snow just like really sinks in. And as you're walking up, not only just walking in general is already hard. Every time you walk, your feet just kind of like sunk into the snow a little bit, right? So it's like takes more effort to walk up the mountain by that alone. But I also had to carry my snowboard and my snow boots. So I was walking up it. I don't know how much weight I was carrying, but let's assume it's an extra like 10, 15 pounds. But that already felt so heavy walking around. It was really clunky. Now I have to walk up this freaking steep mountain. I was like, no, you know what? I'm going to do the hard way because I don't want to wait in line, even though that's easier, but I can do this. I can tough it out. So I'm starting to walk like 5 minutes in. I kid you not, I was already exhausted. And I was like, wow, okay, I made a mistake. But then I couldn't back up now because if I go, the line has actually gotten longer. And I'm like, no, this is still the best way. I'm gonna keep going up. I'm huffing and puffing. At one point, I thought I may just have to collapse here because if I had a heart monitor on, it would have been like 180+ beats per minute. It was very, very exhausting. And I still had probably like 3/4 of the weight left to get to the top of the mountain. I'm carrying the board, sweating, kind of mad at myself for being in this scenario now because I should have stayed down there. I'm completely committed. If I go back down, it will just take as much effort. So I'm committed to going back up this mountain. I'm walking, huffing and puffing. At one point, I almost thought about ditching the rental snow gears because I'm like, this is not gonna work. I kept going up, I kept going up. When I almost gave up, I just kept going a little bit more because I was like, I can do this. I'm a former athlete. I can tough this out. As I got to the top, the lady who was behind me in the line that I was talking to, who I found out like about the lift not working and the bear claw thing, I saw her literally sipping a freaking hot chocolate with her boots already off, chilling on the top of the mountain while I'm basically clawing and climbing all the way up to the top. And then that's the point I realized was I didn't have to do it the hard way. She chose an easier route, waited a few minutes more, and got there before I did. And so that's what I realized, like my trying to be tough and grind out was absolutely the worst possible way to get this done. We're often taught that hard work is the only path to success. So anything difficult feels safe, feels familiar, almost comforting. It's like we trust the struggle more than the outcome. But have you noticed how easy things can feel risky? Like if something comes too easy, we immediately question, is it legitimate? Did I miss something? Think about Airbnb. The hosts of the Airbnb back in the day, they may have questioned if it's a scam to bring in people into their homes, renting out a spare bedroom for extra cash. But fast forward to today, people are millionaires because they rent out properties. It could have been deemed as something risky or a scam, but in today's reality, it's just a more efficient way for people to make money. Or even Amazon. They were ridiculed for years because they raised all this money to sell books online. And people were like, are people even gonna buy any of these books? And now it's so synonymous that I can't go a day without buying stuff on Amazon. I buy everything from my dog's toothpaste to like phones and car chargers and everything else in between, right? That's why they go A to Z. And those two things would have been considered completely a scam if you thought it had to be harder. It had to take more struggle. I had to go to the bookstore. I had to go scan through thousands of books to find the book I want. Now I just click a couple words and it pops up for me. Some people new to multifamily investing hear us talk about our projected 20% annual returns and immediately think, is this a scam? But here's the problem. They're asking the wrong question. Instead of looking for reasons why something doesn't work, something is a scam or illegitimate, they should be asking, are there people out there actually getting the 20% returns? And if the answer is yes, there's plenty, then for us, it's simple. Where do we send the money? So how do you fast track your way out of the grind? The answer is to focus on the 5-level leverage. The key is to identify the impact activities that drive meaningful results. Spending less time on low value tasks and more on high leverage activities is far more effective. Quality over quantity. Best-selling author Ben Hardy calls this the 10x is easier than 2x principle. He believes that aiming for 10x growth forces you to simplify, eliminate distractions, and focus on only the activities that truly move the needles, while 2x growth keeps you stuck in incremental progress, basically trying to do the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. In other words, going 10x requires you to think bigger and work smarter, not harder. What do I mean by this? There's a theory in nature called dispersal. Migratory birds, they're champions of seed dispersals. Research have shown that seeds consumed by birds can travel up to 1,000 miles or even more during migration, especially if they're flying across continents or islands. Think about this. Trees, they're grounded in place. They can't spread their progeny across various islands, countries, continents, even across a street. But because they're able to maximize leverage, they're able to spread across a significant and vast area. If you're looking at the Webster Dictionary, it says leverage is to price something such as corporation or supplement, or something such as money with leverage also to enhance, as if supplying some financial leverage. Guys, I don't even know what that means. That's not the best definition. You see, leverage means that you can make up what you lack with leverage. In other words, what you lack in abilities, you can make up with leverage. And there's various types of leverages. In fact, there's 5. The fastest way to stop the grind is team leverage. I don't know of any faster way to get it done. I mean, it makes sense mathematically, right? You're only one human and you have 24 hours in a day. Even if you're the most efficient and most productive person on earth, there's still one of you. But if you had an army of people behind you, you could grow at 10x, 100x, or 1,000x faster. I don't know of any billionaires who don't have a team. Can you imagine if Elon was doing everything himself? I mean, at the same time, he's assembling Teslas, he's also flying SpaceX spacecraft, or he's tunneling the boring tunnels all by himself. It's not possible to get all these things done. The reason he's so productive is because he has a massive team of highly efficient people who's backing him up and supporting every step of the way. There's a really hilarious story of Jeff Bezos and his attempt to start shipping books for himself through Amazon. So at the time, they didn't have a packing team at all. They had no one. So it was him and a few different software engineers packing stuff. They actually were packing out of this warehouse and they didn't even have a packing table. So they're literally on their knees packing these boxes. And one day, Jeff looked up at the engineer and said, you know what would make this so much easier? And he paused and the engineer was looking at him and he was like, we should get knee pads. And the engineer looked at him and said, no, Jeff, we should get a team of people to actually pack these boxes. Tool leverage, while people are important, I know it sounds kind of funny when I said that, tools are even more invaluable, especially in the age of AI. Tech giants like Waze, when it was sold to Google, actually sold for $1.3 billion. And at the time, they only had 100% on their team because they leveraged technology. Time leverage. I have a good friend that runs a large chain of hospitals in Texas. And guys, he only started as a lowly doctor. And I say that in jest, obviously. He was a grinder back then. When he finished medical school, he actually was running his own practice. And every day he did everything from mopping the floor to accounting billings to answering the phone. And of course, somehow in between all that, he was actually treating patients. Life was pretty miserable for him until he learned 2 amazing words, MD. No, he was actually a real doctor. It wasn't a scam, or he wasn't trying to go back to become a specialist in any other field. What he learned was a phrase, master delegator. Every day, every month, every year, he keeps asking himself, how can I focus on only the high value activities and delegate, automate, or eliminate low value tasks to buy back time? He's constantly thinking of what else can he take off his plate, never adding to it. One of the cool phrases that he told us was, he always asked himself, how can I double my income while doing half the work? That's something he asks himself every single year, every single day. And it's something that's a very amazing lesson that we also use in our own business as well. Debt leverage. Think debt-free means risk-free. Here's why it can cost you wealth. Being debt-free reduces financial obligation, sure, but it also eliminates the leverage of using other people's money for growth. Strategically, we use debt not for consumption, but as leverage. For us, instead of paying cash for real estate, we borrow at low interest, keeping our liquid asset free for other high returns. This approach is not only maintaining liquidity, but also capitalize on potential tax benefits from interest deductions. Additionally, managing cash flow with debt helps us capitalize on unexpected opportunities. The concept of velocity of money, how quickly it can be reinvested, is crucial. Rapidly paying off debt might unnecessarily tie up funds that could otherwise be employed for more profitability. Thus, before you commit to a debt-free lifestyle, consider the implications. In the hand of smart investors, debt is not a burden, but a powerful tool of building wealth. It's about making money more intelligently and efficiently. A good example of this is Apple. While Apple has a lot of money, billions of dollars in the bank, they still choose to actually borrow money through bonds because they realize that that's the cheaper money and that the cash on hand can be used for reserve emergencies or to buy other businesses or other different things that's possible, because they don't want to deploy their money in things that actually doesn't have the same maximum effort or maximum return the potential. So that's why they choose to actually seek out more debt, even though they already have a whole bunch of money in the bank. And I know I told you guys there's 5 levels of leverage, but I'm adding a 6th one for you guys. If you want wealth beyond me, this is probably the most important that you have to have. Assets leverage. Here's the funny thing about assets. When you're building them, they don't make you any money. They actually cost you money. Weird, right? And that's where most people stop. They see their bank account dip and they think, this isn't working for me. But is that really the problem, or is that really the point? See, this is the reason why most people never own assets. They can't get past the moment when their balance goes down. But here is what they don't realize. It only goes down for a little while. If you do it right, the short-term dip can turn into something that pays you, not just for the rest of your life, but for your kids, your grandkids, or even your great-grandkids. So the question isn't, why does it cost me now? The question is, how much could it pay me forever? If you want to set up your kids to build real wealth, not spoiled trust fund babies, but a true lasting legacy, then I'll see you in the next video.